In this section, we're going to talk about mastery. A lot of people ask me in a classroom that de-emphasizes grades, how do we know if a student is mastering learning? And it's got me to thinking about the report card because, of course, that's another issue. Most schools still have a report card, even if teachers are really not grading in the class. So I turned this topic to the Facebook group, Teachers Throwing Out Grades, that I moderate, and there is so much rich conversation here about assessment and how to make it better in general and how to involve kids in particular, and also to carefully deal with the kinds of topics that I'm talking about in this section. So in this group, I asked about mastery and also about grades, thinking about that report card because this is such a difficult topic for people who are de-emphasizing traditional grades in their class, numbers, letters, percentages. So in the Facebook group, I asked a couple of questions. I call them big questions. Must a student go above and beyond assigned tasks to receive what a traditionalist would call an A? Because I'm often asked what mastery learning is or looks like. The other question was, if we're doing a report card, let's say we're in a class where we're not really using grades, but it's the end of a term and we have to put something on a report card, what separates an A from a B? Because again, we're sort of talking about mastery. So if I ask a student, look back on your term and look at the work you've done and the feedback you've been given and iteration and all the things that really help kids learn, what grade should you get? What's the difference in that? And it's something we want to de-emphasize, but until we're completely out of a grades world, we have to deal with it. And there is so much amazing conversation here in this group. And you can check out Teachers Throwing Out Grades on Facebook, and there's a remarkable ongoing conversation about all sorts of assessment and feedback and tools and things there. So what I found in here is that in this conversation about mastery and about grades, a lot of people said it really depends on the class and it depends on the student. So one person in the group says, I don't think there is one right answer. I use a scale based on if students are always, mostly, sometimes, or never doing their best work. Mastery is addressed in the written feedback. So this teacher says we need to look at the situation, we need to look at the kids, and we need to look at what they're doing and to tell them that, you know, you're always doing this the right way, or you're mostly doing it the right way, or sometimes. Now, this is one way we can do it. I'm somewhat troubled by words that have a lot that are open to interpretation, things like mostly and sometimes. So that's one of the issues I have in this. And I told this person, playing devil's advocate, you know, when I was in a traditional grades world, I told kids that how much effort you put in, because she was talking about effort as well. How much effort you put in doesn't matter that much because we're talking about achievement. Now, I don't like that answer, but it's one that I used to use, and it's one that traditional teachers still use. Oftentimes, they will take, going back to my question about an A and a B, oftentimes teachers will take effort and it will then move a child from a B to an A. Well, they maybe, I can't really tell how much they learned, but they tried really hard. I just wonder if we're going to put grades on a report card, is that something we want to do? Because if in the world we're in, if people look at these grades and they think that, let's say, an A means high achievement, if a student really got an A because she tried harder than someone else, does she really know more than someone else? And this comes back to that whole issue and the problem with the traditional grade. So what is mastery? That's what we're trying to get at. And someone else in the Facebook group made a tremendous point, saying maybe asking, has a child mastered something, isn't the right question at all. And I think this is something really important and something I hope that you'll consider and you'll share with your colleagues or with your teachers if you're an administrator, and get them thinking about this question of mastery. Is it really what we're looking for? Because if we say that someone has mastered something, then we have to think that maybe they don't need to learn anymore. And I wonder, is that really ever the case? Aren't we always learning? And if we say, I think you've mastered this and that's an A on a report card, doesn't that child think, well, I don't really need to do any more in this area? And that's where I wonder if mastery may be the wrong word. And we need to send a message to our students that they need to continue learning at all costs. And of course, that brings us back to the question about A's and B's. What's really the difference? And in the long run, does it truly matter? And of course, there's a whole conversation about the GPA and what gets our children into colleges. And I'm really hoping that all of that's going to change in the future. And I think that's what this conversation about mastery learning, about A's and B's, about assessment in general is really about, is how can we move past these labels, whether it's A, B, C, or whether it's you mastered it or you almost did or you're not quite there yet. What can we do to encourage our students to continue to work, to learn, to improve? What can we do to get our students thinking there's always something to be learned? So let's think about this issue more. And most important, let's talk about it with our colleagues and parents and with our students, because in the long run, it's only going to make us better.